Okay, let's talk a little bit about pens today. First thing you might notice on the right side of the board, black has a lot of pieces, so it can't castle to the right, but it probably wants to castle to the right here. You never know, sometimes it castles to the left. But we're going to castle ourselves, and the idea is to get our rook into place, and there happens to be a piece there now. So this piece right here, this knight, is pinned. All the other pieces can move. Well, most of them can move, but this knight is pinned right here. We're going to take advantage of that by making some moves. And black moves its rook out of the way because it's worried about losing its rook to the queen here, which the queen could do. We're going to get our knight going. Our plan is to attack that knight. Remember, that knight is pinned, so there's nothing that I can do. So we can bring our knight to, let's say, d5. That's the original idea. When black moves its other knight here. Okay. The knight is no longer pinned, but we have a spot open for the queen, so we're going to take b7 right there. Now remember, neither one of black's knights are pinned. If it moves one of them, though, the knight will be pinned. Okay? So we're kind of setting a trap here for black to take the bishop on c4 as we left it unguarded here. Okay? So black takes, but now that means this knight is now pinned again, that e7 knight, right? Okay? And what that opens the door for,
checkmate,
is checkmate. Okay, so that was one example of a pen. We're going to take a look at one more example of a pen, and we're going to fast forward to toward the end of this game here.
Castle.
Let me explain my line of attack. Basically, overloading bishops here and trying to sacrifice white 7. None of that bishop sacrifice here. Finally takes it with the idea of getting its knight into place, and here's where we're going to take advantage of some pens. What we need to do, of course, is get a pen in place. That means we need to get the rook going, so we get the rook to e4, okay? White decides to push the pawn, and this is perfect. We can now move the rook to g4, and that pins the knight. It also sets up a potential checkmate, and the way the game played out was this. Now keep in mind we have a bishop in play too. White ended up taking his knight and protecting the knight from getting checkmated there, but we have this bishop guarding h2, which allowed us to checkmate that way. However, let's say white had changed up their strategy and wanted to remove or stop our bishop from attacking. They could have taken their bishop and gone to, let's say, e5. Okay, so that's no longer checkmate there, because there's like a couple different ways they could stop it. In this case, we would take advantage of the knight and just capture that right there, and that would result in checkmate. Okay, we're going to set up a pin in this one too. First thing we're going to do is take that knight and move it out of the way and get it into position. Now, we could capture it en passant. Decided not to do that. Decided to take the knight to b4. To which white responds with the pawn. Okay, we're going to take the queen to b8, and we're going to give up the knight. But we're going to have our queen in good position with a pinned piece, meaning the b3 pawn. Okay, white decides to block this idea right here. That idea is dead in the water now. So, and the thing about that idea was that kind of pushes the king's option around there. So now we have to come up with another idea, and that is to push this pawn right here. And we can push it along the side because, well, that pawn is pinned. Okay, white moves his queen to place. We do not want to lose our two rooks on the back row. Otherwise, we could be facing mate or losing a lot of pieces, because I think we can get our queen back to f8 there. So decide to push the pawn right there, okay, to which white responds by taking the knight. Now the knight is pinned. The knight can no longer move. So we take the rook and go to b8. And at this point, white resigns. But in white's position right here, not a ton of stuff they could do. They could try to, if they move this rook right here, we could simply either take
Check.
and box white into a corner there. But a better move, if we take, instead of taking, would be to take the queen and go to c3 right there. Check. That narrows down white's option to 1, and then we can take the rook, and that's checkmate right there. Alternatively, let's say white decides to move its other rook in position here. We can simply take with the queen.
Checkmate.
And that is checkmate right there.